I'm Sylvia Mayer, an arbitrator, mediator, and attorney located in Houston, Texas, serving as neutral all around the country. Thanks for joining me today for Mayer on mediation and arbitration. Today, I want to talk about grief, when grief is in the room. Do you know who participates in mediation? People. People participate in mediation. Whether they're there as an individual or on behalf of a business, they're still people. And very often, people are grieving. Their grief may or may not be related to the dispute, but regardless, it is still palpable and can be a barrier to resolution. When grief is in the room, it is important to allow time in the process for participants to cycle through their emotions and their grief so that they can reach the point where they are receptive to resolution. To illustrate, let's consider Gabby Gonzalez, I Love You, Bigger Than the Sky. In this story, Carmen's grandma has passed away. Carmen's father comes to tell her. He says Grandma has gone to heaven. And then he begins to cry. Carmen is in disbelief. She thinks to herself, this cannot be. But then Carmen jumps up and runs away to a nearby playground. Her father follows her. When he gets there, Carmen yells at him, "Leave me alone. I don't want to talk." But her father sits there quietly and waits for her as she cries. Carmen's father eventually suggests that they go home. But Carmen is reluctant to go. She insists she will only go home if Grandma is there. But her father cannot promise that. They go home, and Carmen cries and cries and cries. Her father comforts her, and he shares that they will always be connected with Grandma because Grandma will be in their hearts forever. Time passes. Carmen remembers how her grandma loved butterflies, flowers, and the sky. Carmen feels Grandma's love in her heart as she watches the butterflies fly from the flowers up into the sky. And then Carmen looks into the sky and whispers, "I love you bigger than the sky," to her grandma. This story beautifully explores the 5 stages of grief: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance, and shows the value of giving someone who is grieving the opportunity to move through these stages. In this story, denial is when Carmen thinks this cannot be. Anger is when Carmen yells at her father. Bargaining is when Carmen insists she cannot go home unless Grandma is there. Depression, Carmen cries and cries and cries. And then finally, acceptance. Carmen feels Grandma's love, and she looks to the sky to tell Grandma that she loves her. Grief may be present in a mediation because there was a death or serious bodily injury related to the dispute. Or grief may be present in the mediation because of a business loss. I see this often in business divorces, separations, and dissolutions. Or grief may be present because one participant has suffered a personal loss that's unrelated to the dispute. Even if the loss is totally unrelated to the dispute that you're in the mediation to address, grief can still impact the process because grief impacts our mental and emotional state. Regardless of why grief is in the room, processing grief takes time, a safe space, and a non-judgmental and empathic listener. These are all things that mediation offers. When one or both parties are grieving, take the time to let them cycle through the process and reach the acceptance stage. Acceptance leads to receptivity, and receptivity allows the parties to find the path to resolution. Thanks for joining me today. Please connect with me on LinkedIn or subscribe to my YouTube channel.